All right, so for this video, sticking with the nonfiction route, going with actual sport again, and I want to talk about my favorite NFL game of all time. One of my, my favorite game. I think it's the best NFL game of all time, and that was the Giants and Patriots Super Bowl 42, Glendale, Arizona, and when I think about this game, I mean, other than being a Giant fan, obviously rooting for the Giants, I just think with this game, a huge storyline, a huge component of it was the backdrop of the Patriots going for the undefeated season, going for 19-0, cementing themselves as the greatest team of all time. And if they got it, you know, they I feel like they'd be the greatest team of all time for forever. And I still think, looking back, if someone were to ask me what's the greatest NFL team I've ever seen, I would say that team. It was just ridiculous how they were blowing out teams, beating them by high school and college margins in the NFL. It was just unprecedented. The way they were just killing teams. Did have a couple close games. The Ravens game, I remember specifically on Monday night, and coincidentally, the Giant game, the last game of the season. And ironically, though, that I feel like that went on to be an impetus for the Giants. And I think a lot of Giants players, guys associated with that team, cited that game as the game that gave them a lot of momentum going into the playoffs, going into Super Bowl 42. But you just look at that team. Brady, Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Dante Stallworth. On the defense, they had the veterans, Bruschi, Vrabel, Junior Seau, Vince Wilfork, Asante Samuel. I mean, it's just ridiculous when you think about that team. And I can remember a lot about this game very vividly. I've watched it a few times on the NFL replay on the NFL network. And there's a lot of, or not, I shouldn't say a lot, but a few historical nuggets and records tied with this game, which I always reference when I think about something's legacy and something's greatness. Those are things I think about. Records, whether it's big or small, and there's some records I'll get into the game with here. And I'm kind of going to go quarter by quarter, just recap at least my memories, the things that come to my mind, things that stand out. But as far as the first quarter, I think this is where the tone really got set. The Giants got the ball, and they absolutely just had a great drive. They kept converting third down after third down. Who was involved? Steve Smith, Plaxico Burrett. I think everyone was involved. Amani. There was just a great way to start, just chewing up the clock, keeping the Patriots off the field. They ended up settling for a field goal, but they chewed up, I think the drive went 10 minutes, which, going back to those statistical records I was referencing, that drive up until that point was the longest in Super Bowl history. And so that's something I always love to reference and bring up, those little statistical record kind of nuggets. And yeah, so that was the longest drive in Super Bowl history. And then Patriots get the ball on their first drive, and they kind of just, they dink and dunk the whole way down the field. Very uncharacteristic for the team they were during the season. They were just very explosive, air it out. Brady to Moss for 60 yards. Brady to Welker for 20 yards. So this drive was very uncharacteristic for them. Just a lot of passes underneath, slants, but they were moving the ball. And they chewed up most of the time for the rest of the first quarter. And I remember a big play was, I think the Giants, I think it was third down. They had them on third down on the Patriots' first drive. And the Patriots got a big pass interference call on Ben Watson. Well, I think Antonio Pierce committed the penalty, but it was on Ben Watson. And that put the Patriots at the 1 yard line. And then this is just a little memory I like to bring up, but I think there was less than 40 seconds left in the first quarter. Patriots are on the 1 because of that penalty. And obviously Super Bowl boxes are a big thing here. And it's potentially the last play of the first quarter. And the Patriots run the ball. And I think it might have been Lawrence Maroney, but if you had Patriots 7, you're like, score, please God, score. If you're the if you're Patriots 0, you're like, no, don't score. And it ended up that Maroney got stopped, and that was the last play of the first quarter. So if you had Patriots 0, you were great. You were loving life. And just a little something I love to, like a little memory, just tie in, love to bring up there. So that was the first quarter. I'm trying to think, as far as the second and third quarter, there wasn't that much action in terms of scoring, but the final score was 17-13. That's another thing I wanted to bring up too. Even though the final score was 17-13, it wasn't that much of a dull of a game. The ball was moving a lot. Teams were getting first downs. There weren't many 3 and outs. So from that standpoint, it was still, even though it was low scoring, it was still very entertaining. And I think for my memories, just the fact that the Patriots were going for the undefeated season, on top of me being a Giant fan, and it would be even sweeter to see them beat the Patriots. But I just was on every play. I was like on pins and needles, thinking, when is Brady going to hit Moss for 60 yards? When's the big play going to erupt? I'm trying to think about the second quarter, some big plays. I remember the Giants, I think it was a third down, but I remember Eli was, I think the Giants were in their own territory, and Eli was backing up, just pressure was coming, and he just kind of heaved it up along the sideline, like a deep 30, 40-yard pass, and he hit Amani Toomer. Amani was like covered, and I think he pushed off on the defender a little bit, but he caught the ball, did a little toe drag along the sideline. And so I remember in the second quarter there, was optimistic about that. Thought the Giants, all right, maybe they're going to score again here. But I think it was that same drive, Eli actually got picked off. He threw a pass intended for Steve Smith, and Smith kind of came out of his break late, and the pass was there, but he kind of bobbled it, and it went right into, I want to say, Ellis Hobbs' hands. I think he intercepted it. Ellis Hobbs, who kind of went on to, I don't want to say be the GOAT, but he was the one that let Plax get that touchdown at the end of the game. But I remember that. About the second quarter, I remember also a big moment. The Giants were also backed up in their territory on a drive, and Eli, the play they ran was a handoff to Ahmad Bradshaw, and I think Eli was in shotgun, handed it off to him, and Bradshaw kind of bobbled it, and the ball was on the ground, and it was like right in front of a Patriots player. I think it was Pierre Woods. And I thought, Patriots are going to recover, going to go down and score. Game's going to be history. But somehow Woods didn't recover it. If you go back and watch this game, the ball falls right in front of him, and somehow he didn't recover it, and Ahmad recovered it. But that's something I always think about with that play. If Woods covers it, Patriots are in Giants territory. They score. Who knows how the hell it goes? But that was kind of memories that stood out in the second quarter. Third quarter. Again, no scoring in this quarter. Second and third quarter, there was no scoring at all. And a couple plays I remember here. I remember it was a big play where the Giants stopped the Patriots on a third down. I think the Patriots were moving the ball. They were in Giant territory, and the Giants stopped them on third down. But they had a penalty. They had too many men on the field, and I think the Patriots went back. Well, I know they did. Yeah, they went back and reviewed it, and that was something I guess you could review. And as someone, Brady snapped the ball as someone was leaving the field, and so I thought, even though the Patriots hadn't scored since their first drive, they hadn't scored in the second quarter, I was just on pins and needles, thinking, when is this team going to explode? When are they going to have the drive? When's it going to be, 40-yard pass to Moss, 20-yard pass to Wes Welker, 20-yard pass to Dante Stallworth? That was always looming in the back of my mind. So even though the Giants, even though they gave up the penalty, I was just like, Patriots are going to take advantage, and this game is going to go off the rails. Patriots are going to blow them out. But at this point, it's still 7-3. But the Giants commit that penalty. Patriots got a fresh set of downs. And then this is something I'm looking forward to referencing. But I think on that same drive, Giants again stopped the Patriots, get them to a fourth down. But I think the Patriots were kind of in fringe field goal territory. I think it would have been like 48 to 50 yarder for Gostkowski. It was 4th and 13. And I think Bill Belichick actually references this in his new book. But it was 4th and 13. He ended up going for it. And I think Brady threw a bomb to the end zone that was incomplete. But I remember thinking, like, what a freaking break. Like, they're in field goal territory. You think Gostkowski, I move my water here, will probably be able to make that. And they let him off the hook. So I just remember that as a huge moment in the game too, in the third quarter. But the second and third quarter, no scoring. Get to the fourth quarter, and this is where, again, the fireworks things kind of start up again. And I think it's the first play of the first quarter. Giants have the ball, and I always remember this play. This was a momentous, huge play, a huge turning point in the game. But Eli does a little play action. I think it was play action, if I'm not, whatever, but hits Kevin Boss over the middle. Now thinking about it, Kevin Boss, he was a great Giant. That year, Shockey went down. That was a big storyline too. But he hits Kevin Boss, and Boss makes a move and has some run after the catch. And that was just the Giants' biggest play in forever. And that just got everyone going, got the fans back in it. A huge explosive play to get into New England territory. And then Giants continue to move the ball, get it to first, or get it to within goal. And always remember this play. I think maybe from the 5-yard line. But I forget if it was play action again, but Eli hits David Tyree over the middle slant, just threads the needle. And obviously referenced David Tyree much more later. But that was just such a inspiring, just momentum swinging play. Giants get the lead, and going back to those little statistical factoids, this was the longest amount of time for Super Bowls in between scores. Another factoid I wanted to bring up, I forgot. Those 2 drives in the first quarter were the fewest in, I think, the first quarter in Super Bowl history. And then he hits Tyree for the touchdown. and just mass elation from the Giant faithful in Glendale. And longest gap in Super Bowl history without a score. So just a lot of optimism from a Giant fan perspective then, like you finally got the lead. And then going down the stretch, I think I remember exactly every drive after that. I think the Patriots get the ball again. Giants force them to punt. And so you're optimistic, maybe make it a 2-possession game. And so Giants get the ball back. And I remember a third down play. I think Eli got rushed out of the pocket, had to go on the run, and was throwing it across his body. But I think there might have been a blown coverage, but Plax was wide open. And Eli was kind of throwing on the run. And if he hits Plax has room for days to run. And who knows? He could have got a touchdown, would have been deep in the Patriot territory, make it that all-important 2-possession game if you could go up 17-7. And yeah, obviously that's huge, the 2-possession part. And he misses him, and I'm just like, F. But again, I think also going back to my perspective, it was just shocking to see the way the Giants held down this historic New England offense. So, I mean, words can't even begin to describe how good they were, how explosive they were. And it was just the Giants that they got after Brady. I think that was what they would say. And it was just apparent who had sacks. I remember another big moment in the third quarter, too. I think Strahan got a sack, did a little flex, and that was a great moment. I think Kavika Mitchell had a sack. Who was the guy at the end? I forget his name at the end. Obscure player. I should know this, too. But, yeah, I think they had 5 sacks of Brady. And it was just like, how is this happening? Like, it was just like, like the football gods were, obviously, as I'll go into detail later, like the football gods were with the Giants that night. And then, Giants don't convert on that pass from that incomplete pass from Eli to Plax. And then Patriots get the ball back again. I forget how much time, but I think similar to their first drive, just a lot of thinking and dunking, a methodical drive. I don't think they had that many big plays or chunk plays, just moving the ball down the field, eating up the clock. And as a Giant fan, I'm like, oh, like just put me out of my misery. Like, just those drives are the worst, where like they're chewing up the clock, converting third downs, and they get down to, I think, like the 5, and 3rd and goal, and this is it. I mean, this is a huge play. You want them to stop the Patriots, force them to a field goal. At the worst, you're probably going overtime, have a chance to go down the field and just end the game on a field goal. But 3rd and 5, or a 3rd and goal, whatever. But I think it was from the 5-yard line. But Brady hits Randy Moss at the bottom of the screen, I remember, and I think Corey Webster was on him, and Webster just fell down, just lost his footing, and that just left Moss wide open. Did his little celebration, which I always loved that about. I love that little celebration from Randy Moss. But at the time, I was like devastated. I'm like, F, this is it. But Patriots score, go up 14-10. I remember Joe Buck, I think, had a great call of that Moss touchdown. He goes, these two hooked up a record 23 times during the regular season, and now here to give the Patriots a fourth quarter Super Bowl lead. And again, that just if you guys know, I'm big on broadcasting, even Jim Ross wrestling. But I thought Joe Buck was at his best during this time, and that's a great call. One I always remember too, even though it wasn't like a game-winning touchdown, which I'll reference later. But Patriots get the lead, and then Strahan has his infamous speech. 17-14 is going to be the final score. And the drive, they say Elway had the drive, but I think this has got to be like right up there with that. If not better, it wasn't 97, 98 yards. But just the friggin' drive, man, that's all you can say. And I remember, I don't know if people remember, but the Giants did have to convert a fourth down at the beginning of this drive. I think it might have been on the first set of downs. But, that's as nerve-wracking, even before the 3rd and 5 with the Tyree catch. That's as nerve-wracking as it gets. Fourth and inches, Super Bowl on the line, but they hand it off to Brandon Jacobs. He converts it, and then from here, it's just, what more needs to be said? Just the greatest play, I think, in Super Bowl history. I just don't think there's any, you can debate that. I think it was 3rd and 5. I feel like I'm saying 3rd and 5 a lot, but I don't know if I'm right. But just, I don't know how anyone can say it's better. Eli's wrapped up by, I think it was Jarvis Green, and you think that's it. Super Bowl's over. It was a great run, a great, thrilling, magical season for the Giants, but it's over. He's going to get sacked, 4th and 15, and as we all know, by the grace of God, somehow Eli gets out of it. Like I said, the football gods were on his side, and just Tyree, it's like storybook. It's like magic. Pinning the ball against his helmet, like an inch from the ground. Like, are you kidding me? Like, how does that happen? And of course, it's been well documented. The whole story of David Tyree just couldn't. I think the day before in practice couldn't catch a ball to save his life, and the guy has a touchdown catch in the Super Bowl and the greatest catch in Super Bowl history, and that goes on to be his last ever catch game in the NFL. What a way to go out for him. And makes the catch. I do think later I think the Giants had to pick up a 3rd and long, so they still wasn't wrapped up. I think Eli hit Steve Smith a 3rd and long along the sideline to pick up a first down. I could be wrong about that, not 100% sure. But then he hits Plaxico. Just storybook stuff. Just shakes Ellis Hobbs, just breaks him. The call by Joe Buck. Manning to Burris, alone, touchdown, New York. Just what sports is all about, those moments where you get the chills. And it just euphoria, elation, bedlam from the Giant faithful in Glendale. And I think at this point you had to feel confident about things. I guess the Patriots had the ball with like 35 seconds left, but you were just you were feeling confident about it. And then Brady, there was one play this drive where you just hold your breath. But I keep forgetting that guy who sacked Brady. I think it was 2nd down when the Patriots got the ball back that he got sacked. Oh, that's going to drive me crazy. But when that sack happened, I was like, I'm feeling good about this. Although I think it was the next play where Brady just bombed it to Moss. And I think Moss had a step on his defender for most of the route. And if he catches it, they're in field goal range. We're going to tie the game. I forget who the defender was, but they got a fingertip on it, and Moss couldn't get it. But that play was extremely nerve-wracking. I think it was third down. And then fourth down, the ball gets batted down. I think it might have been Jabril Wilson. And that was it. And the Giants pull off the miracle, the unthinkable, the historic upset of all time. I mean, I think it's got to be up there with the Jets Super Bowl III. And like I said, it's just this team, this 2007 New England Patriots team. I mean, the best team I think I'll ever see. And I guess a lot of people can make the argument, well, they didn't win it all, they can't be the best team ever, but I just never seen anything like them since. So yeah, just, I mean, what a night for NFL, for football, for Giants fans, and just the joy, the elation, just it brought to all of us in the parade a few days later, and just something I always want to break down, give context, give insight, and give my perspective on. This was super long. Oh my God, 26 minutes long. But if you watch this, I appreciate it. Might make a short out of this because it's 27 minutes long. I don't know. But if you watched and have any feedback, commentary of your own, I'd appreciate it. Love to hear back. And yeah, this was fun, and looking forward to the next video, and take care.